I should be here now, hopefully. Let me know if you can hear me. Mind B, welcome. Glyph, welcome. How are you guys doing? Get myself some candy ready and everything. Today I just want to chill a little bit, chat a little bit with you guys, and in the meantime, just do some normal production inside of Bitwig. The last few times we really tried to achieve a certain goal, I guess, with the DAW and find out certain features, especially the first stream. So this stream I want to do nothing of that and just relax and produce and see how it works when you're just trying to get into a creative flow. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't really have an idea for what I want to do in terms of like what style of sidetrends I want to create. If I want to create something that is very similar to what I normally do or something very different, maybe even a different genre. So I would love to hear suggestions, but I think I'm just going to start off making a kick drum. And I can do that with the kick drum plugin. There we are. Fairly sharp kick when it first starts, but I want to tone it down a little bit here. Sophist, welcome. How are you doing? I really hope when the second version of this plugin is going to come out that it's going to be really good. I hear some clicks towards the tail with this particular version of the kick drum. I believe you can rectify that. Yeah, you can already hear there's no more clicks if you just do it like this. Like a little bit more punch out of it. There's a bit of a nasty talk feeling, I guess, that coming from the pitch here. Yeah, I want it a little bit higher. And then a bit punchier lower down here. I think I like that. Oh, there's a lot of stuff happening in the chat. Ryan, how are you doing? Sasha, welcome. Dish Chuyino. I'm really sorry for mispronouncing your name, but you know that that's going to happen. I love the kick already. Great sample. Thank you. It's not a sample though. It's made in the plugin, of course. I believe in here I can also go like this and then paste directly in here, right? Is there no paste action whatsoever? It also didn't remember these settings over here, but that's okay. File, no. Wave copy to clipboard. Is it because it's an instrument track? I need to make it an audio track, or it needs to be like a hybrid track? Yeah, okay. Nice. Okay, now I want it longer like that. Okay. Oh, of course, we've made it for 110 BPM. Which BPM am I going to use? I guess we can go a little bit faster. Maybe make some like nighttime 154. Something like that. What's the MIDI keyboard again? There we are. We would need to tweak this a little bit. Now I don't like how dark it is. Now here. I bought a plugin yesterday called Trance Engine. I've been sitting making trance For hours with Vital. That sounds interesting. Like normal trance or still psytrance. I see it's really cool. I'll have to check it out. I did make a bunch of videos on this plugin. It's a really good plugin for making kick drums. It's, I would say, a better plugin than Kick 2, especially when version 2 is coming out. Get it before version 2 is coming out so that you can get version 2 for free while paying 50% for the plugin now. So it's 50% off. It's $22, I think. It's great. Let's go for 150 plus. Yeah, that was what I was thinking. It's a little bit different. So maybe that will be interesting. Okay. A little bit more punchy of a kick drum is required for that then. Maybe even some... Maybe that's a bit too much. I'd like to edit this thing. I hope one of the things that they fix in version 2 is all of these controls getting in the way of the things that you actually want to do. Bit darker here. Nice. Okay, so that's a bar long, right? Oh yeah, but I want it in audio. That's easier to work with. One of the annoyances that I have with Ableton is that this system, where you just click here and then paste in the timeline, doesn't work because I have the plugin running in admin, or I have Ableton running in administrator mode for various different reasons. And I guess within administrator mode, it doesn't allow you to drop in files. So drag and drop also doesn't work for me. Do people want to see in higher BPM still? 196, lovely. That would be really fast. That is in the high-tech territories. I'm not sure I'm in the mood for high-tech today. Zoom out is like this. The control set of Bitwig is just different enough to be annoying. Let's get ourselves Serum for the baseline. And then I'm going to look for a fairly dark bass table here. This is usually my go-to. Let's see how that performs if we just set it up like. I hope I'm good with the connection. We had our usual disconnect at the beginning of the stream. So let's knock on my desk and hope that it doesn't happen again. Projector made me buy it. It's all I use now. It's really great. It is very good. And what I really like about it is that he is continuing to develop it and that we get the version 2 for free. There's a few features that people ask for in that plugin that I personally don't really find all that necessary, like the internal sampler for adding tops on top of it. But that is because I like very clean kicks, personally. Like, I like them when they just have the knock from the sine wave as the transient, as opposed to like an actual transient on top of it. How about F sharp or D sharp? Let's do that, yes. Let's go away from my comfort key. Let's go... Do you go D sharp for nighttime? D sharp or F sharp? I'm still also going to change the tonality of the bass line, of course. I think I like F sharp more. I think we'll try F sharp and see what we get from there. People are saying D sharp. F sharp harmonic major scale. Okay. It's been a really long time since I have written something in major scale. Oh, we're distorting a bit. Oh yeah, because this by default is set to 0. No, because I did that. Setting volumes away from here is a bit annoying. You cannot just type in here. That's annoying. I want to consolidate this so that we can try a melody. So I have to write something in harmonic major. Is that just a normal major going from C up all of the white notes? Or is that even different than normal major? See, this is how much I know about music theory. We'll have to Google this. Well, this doesn't really tell me anything yet. I just want to see the piano notes in C. Okay, so A flattened. Okay. Interesting. So that is this down here. No C sharp. Wait, so if I move this over here, it's all the white. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe there is a few notes difference. Yeah, I think like this is what people are saying. There is a module to scale it. I don't remember the name. Let's see if Bitwig can help us out indeed. Yeah. MIDI effects. Or is this instrument? This is instruments. MIDI effects is over here. Quantize. Brings notes closer to the next beat with optional forgiveness. I don't think that that's what I want. Note filter, note delay, multi-note. MIDI song select. Program change MIDI CC. Key filter. Ah, here we go. Harmonic. Did somebody say minor or major? Harmonic major scale. We have the harmonic minor here and the melodic minor. But I don't see a harmonic major. I know I need to put it before the serum here, yeah. With what sounds beside the bass line is scale the most important? Arps and pads and vocals, sometimes even some drums, sometimes some one-shots. It depends on if the sound has like harmonic information, then you want those harmonies to be in the key of your track. I put the notes up there. But is that... Ah, okay, so you put in the notes, but you didn't count from the start of the key. Okay, yeah. No, what I meant was, I understand what you did, but what I meant was, there is a way that you can place all of the notes like this, and then move them up into here. But you just gave me these notes, I believe. Right, C sharp. from what I can see on Wiki, or what I googled before, the harmonic major has a flattened note over here. So what you wrote before with the D sharp, that should be a D, I think. Because the way that you're saying it would be like this, which is the normal major scale, because that's all the white notes on the keyboard. Whereas with the harmonic major, it is flattened down one, according to that article that thing that I saw. Okay, so is there a way to do the same thing in Ableton where you fold, or like highlight the keys in here? Because then I don't have to use the note filter or the MIDI device, and I don't have to set all of that up. I can just write directly in here. Ah, there we are. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2 maybe. Is this cool? Lotwas, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. It feels a little bit strange writing in this key after having written for so much time in like Frisian and minor and whatever. I feel like nighttime it stays a lot lower. Maybe like this. Then there's too much happening, I feel like. Even here, there's maybe too much happening. What if I do... maybe up until here, like this. And then the other way around here. Okay. I like that. Let's start adding some drums to this. Oh. I just want an audio track for drums. I don't have any of the packages that I normally use set up in here, of course. I don't even think you guys can see this particular part because my camera is in the way. But I'm just going to drop in some files. Nice classical open hats sound over there. It doesn't move along with the duplication. That's a bit annoying. Of course, way too loud here. We'll group that and name it top drums. I don't like this scale. Yeah, I need to get used to it. I just want to try something new, and given that that was the suggestion, that's what I'll go with for now. We'll see if it works, and if it doesn't, we can always, of course, change it later on. Okay, so this needs to go to -12. Okay, I like that. Let's add a snare. I think that is one that is like nighttimey, a little bit faster. A bit more aggressive. I don't like it though. Maybe this one is a bit better. It's also a bit longer. I guess that is kind of the vibe that I'm going for here. Control R to rename. Oh yeah, that is, of course, yeah. I did rename the group after. Oh, it didn't work. You have to press enter, didn't you? Yeah. Well, I'm not going to bother with naming everything anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I can just keep calling stuff like this group and whatnot. Okay. So now that we have that, maybe it's time for a couple of interesting sequences. Let's see if we can make some cool stuff. I believe there's some wavetable tricks that you can do to get kind of like that very chirpy, high frequency thing. I believe I even have like a bandpass wavetable for that. Or is it this? Might be the thing that you do with the spectral filter, where you move the spectral filter like this, right? Does it play now? Not really the texture that I was going for, I guess. I don't think this is what I meant to do. I know this is also a technique that I've seen somewhere, because I'm trying to remember the techniques that I've seen on Mute Productions' channel, because he is a little bit more into the more psychedelic side of psytrance, I guess. But this is not it. So is it then this? You go up like that and then add modifier. Oh no, wait, it's over here with the saw wave. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. I remember. You go to saw wave. And then we remove everything else. So we just hold a saw wave here. It shouldn't go anywhere now. Exactly. And then you go frequency filter. Make sure that it's a bandpass, that you have a very... You start with a very low shape and then you go higher and you just up the shape a little bit so that it kind of morphs into something like that. So this is going to be the end here. And then over here, it goes a lot lower. And the shape goes to 0, right? Yeah, and then here you can go higher to get a higher peak there. I believe this is the trick that I believe this is the trick that I wanted to do. Yes. What you can do with this is use, I guess, Perlin noise, because we want it moving. Okay. And then I want to arpeggiate this. So right here, arpeggiator. I just need it to be cut up in 16th notes. Okay, gate length should be lower. I feel like the randomness isn't really... it's always starting in the middle here. Then... How can we fix that? There we are. That's cool. Maybe an octave lower for a bit of a darker feeling. Yeah, I don't want it to be too low, because then you get... Or maybe even... This is technically like too low. This is an octave below the sub-bass register. But you're getting some really cool sounds out of this. The top drums feel really one-dimensional now. So I'm going to go for... No, wait. Start with the dimension expander. That may have already done it, but I want a little bit more boost in the side frequencies in the high end. Equalizer can do that by just setting the functionality to mid-side. And then here, only the sideband. Feels like forced. Yeah, this is based on sound design that I've learned from Mute Productions. And he does sometimes like a little bit of nighttime vibe, and sometimes a little bit of a forced vibe. He's a little bit more in the psychedelic area of psytrance, I would say, than what I normally do. So yeah, that is very much possible. I didn't follow his tutorial, but I remembered one of the tricks from it. Well, we can pair this with something maybe a little bit more my speed, like a FM setup. Let's go into Faceplant for that. And I want to use my SSQ wavetable. Tables. User. Oh no, wavetables. Wavetables, FM modulators. For those that have the wavetable pack, in the FM modulators, you'll find the SSQ carrier over here. For those that want to follow along with this technique, take any sound on the same octave and just FM it with this wavetable over here. And then if you move the frame all the way up, you're going to get these clicky textures over here. Sounds cool, but I would like a little bit more grit out of it. I don't think you can do asymmetrical distortion inside of Faceplant, can you? They don't have a wave shaper in here. That would be a cool effect inside of the kilohertz ecosystem. But I guess it has been probably requested thousands of times at this point. I mean, I still have a good wave shaper here. And wave shaper. We can do some asymmetrical distortion in here. Like some of that very tight stuff that I sometimes like to do. You can hear you get that kind of nice fizzle in there. I don't like that it takes my key input. I like that. ColorArts added more advanced wave shaper recently, did they? I haven't updated in a little while. Where do I see all effects here? I don't see wave shaper in here. Did they make it their own wavetable powered distortion? Shaper table. Oh yeah, that's right. I heard this. You should check out the free shaper. No way. Do I have that? Shaper. Oh yeah. Turns out I have it. Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting. I don't really keep up with all of the updates with all of the different plugin companies. There's only so much that you can follow. But this is interesting. Now I can do some wave shaping in here. We did already set up a curve in here in the meantime, so that's okay. Nice little bit of extra noise coming from that. It's only doing it on the lower segment of the audio, only on the lower side over here, which means that you maintain some of the main texture of the sound as well, because that is left in the upper side, which is a really interesting technique. It does cause maybe a little bit of DC offset and some lower frequencies to appear, so I'm going to EQ that out. No. High pass, yes. 24 dB per octave. Probably over here. I'd like the note to be a little bit shorter. Holding shift you can make adjustments without it snapping like that. That's interesting. Hello Dash, by the way. Welcome. Hope that you enjoyed the stream. This is something that's up your alley. A little bit more than it's up mine, but that's why I'm experimenting. Stereo spread is what I want here. Alright, so we have already... I guess this is going to be like in the lower energy parts. I'm just building the sequences all on top of each other now, and then later on I worry about arrangement and all of that good stuff. I just want to get a few interesting sounds. So I think I want to go for something a little bit more glitchy. Maybe we also need to do some distortion for that as well. And some wave shaping would be cool. So let's go faceplant again. And then for the glitchiness, I would like to use different tones from my tones pack, so that we can jump between the different tones here. You know, like this. It doesn't really morph, or does it? It now seems to morph here. I guess there's values in between the wavetables, or does it not morph? Can you make like small adjustments in here? Yeah, do you see how it slightly morphs between the wavetables? Technically that's not what I want, but I don't think that will be too much of an issue here. I think it has to do with the fact that the modulation is capable of doing 1,000 different positions, and this is only 256. Because this goes into percentages. I think you can... Right? There are some percentages in here that I know you can edit the decimal from, I believe. Not here, I guess. Yeah, this. The smooth. The lowest part here, as you can see, it changes the decimal. So for that, it would need a precision of 1,000 to do that. So I guess that is the reason why it's happening like that. But that doesn't really matter. I want this to be frozen, and then it re-triggers with the notes. Okay. Then we'll do another one for a panning effect, I guess. What I want to do is I want it to only pan every once in a while. So for that, we set up a remap here. Yeah, and then we can decide to only let this signal through, say, a quarter of the time. Right, so a quarter of the time it's going to pan, and other times it's not going to pan. For that panning, we also need another random over here. Again, these need to be 0 here. So this is going to control the panning, positive and negative, and this is going to control if it's actually going to happen. I guess that sounds cool as a start. Would be cool to have a little bit of release on that, maybe. Okay. I guess we do some actual wave shaping in here then. Ah, you can open it up. Perfect. Cool. Freeform mirror symmetry. Is this asymmetrical or symmetrical then? I believe right now it's symmetrical. Right? Oh no, it goes from -1 to 1. It's asymmetrical. That's cool. What does this differ than here? Select the symmetry mode for curve editing. Ah, it's for the editing only. Okay. Cool. Of course, we do want this to stay in the middle here. Seamless calls this asymmetrical distortion. What he means by that, it's distortion that goes into the other side of the signal. So that distortion itself actually crosses the 0 crossing. Which, in terms of tonality, I forgot what he said about it, but it had a very special tonality to it. So I'm going to try it a little bit here to see how messed up our sound is now. It is very loud. Let's try to sterilize it a bit, and then we'll lower that a bit as well in terms of volume. I think there are some cool sounds that we can get from here with a bit of processing. We do the EQ again. Again, I would like a 24 dB per octave high pass here. I just tried to create a MIDI clip and exit it out of the application, I guess. Or minimize the application. That is some annoying differences between shortcuts between the two programs. bit of resonation on this. Resonator bank. Let's see what this does. Does this come with key information at all, or is this just you have to tune it manually? I would assume that there would be presets for this, no? Show expanded device view. That is interesting. Modulators, remote controls, replace content via pop-up browser. Where are the presets for this? Or do I have to go in here? It does say 7. Ah, is it this? Set your modals, then you can just set use offset. Offset. Global frequency offset. Aha. I guess we're up 6 then. Can I edit this value? Does it appear somewhere in that list? No. How do I set this to exactly 6? Control click type value. That's annoying. Maybe an octave higher would be nice. So 18, I guess. Triple click to edit. Aha. Interesting, interesting. I like that we have that panning effect, but I think it's doing a little bit too much. So let's set this modulation to... Ah, that's why it was set to more than both notes. So half of the notes would always get hard panned. That sounds cool, but I'd like to make it a bit stronger, I guess. Isn't there a multiband? Yeah, I would need to make my own OTT if I wanted to OTT it, right? I also have the plugin installed, so I could use that. Is this the plugin? Do I not have the plugin? Either way, something popped up. Oh, it is the plugin. Okay. Probably still want to change the panning to be a little bit less aggressive here. Let's go 50-50-ish. And then let's make it happen a little bit more often, so it isn't as surprising when it does happen. There's an OTT preset, I think it's called Grid X Comp. I want everything. Grid X. Bitwig presets. Grid compressor. I assume you mean this? No. It doesn't look like it's that. This doesn't seem to have multi-band capabilities. Multi-compression. Oh yeah, right? Because I have low, mids, and high. I mean, this feels slightly different in that I don't have individual controls, but I guess I could open it up if I really needed to. Doesn't really matter now, we have found it, but it's nice to know that it's there. Renaming and labeling stuff is triple click as well. Not for me. Is that a setting that I need to change? The other one has a look ahead and all. It's called Grid X Comp M Band. Grid X Comp Multiband. Aha. Oh yeah, this is very big. It has a lot of different things, it seems. Interesting. How many different bands are there? Or is it summing them together in a certain way? No, it seems to be all different values, I guess. No idea what's happening here. This is interesting though. This is something that I would want to take a look at in the future. Projector on Bitwig is awesome. I'm just testing it though. I would love to just be able to jump ship from one day to another, but of course that cannot happen. Even if I now were to say like, yeah, I'm going to use Bitwig from now on, that would still be a very, very long process to actually, first of all, finish the music that I need to finish in Ableton, and then actually get my workflow to a point where I'm happy and comfortable using Bitwig to write as fast as I am in Ableton. Ah, that's... don't just put it on random tracks. Bit of delay on this. I always go for the plus versions, but I don't know if that's the best one. It seems to do what I want. Why do these volume thingies over here have like a little, I guess, icon over here, a little label thing over here? It even has it with the sand effects and this thing over here. Is it recognizing my MIDI controller? Ah, it might recognize my MIDI controller. Does it work? Oh yeah, that's interesting. I didn't actually set up my MIDI controller in any fashion, so it just recognized it and started using it. I actually don't really want that, so I'm going to turn it off. Hopefully that doesn't crash anything. No, it doesn't. It's my first live stream. Love your videos. Thank you. Welcome to the stream, Corey. The settings are in the top right of the entire GUI. Yeah, I just have a button on my USB thingy where I can just turn individual USB devices on and off. And that is the easiest way to deal with it. So for now, I've just turned it off if I don't want to use it. Because this MIDI controller is very interesting because it has like 1 or 2 sliders that have some water damage, so that sometimes send out a little bit of data. And if you don't set it up the settings right, it can just like temporarily mute individual sounds in your track. So I don't want it to happen, but I already saw that it's in like pick over mode, so that is very unlikely to happen. It will only happen if the data that it sends out goes through the actual point that it's already at. I think the nighttime style will have a little bit more sidechaining than what I'm used to, because it feels all very flat and fast and tightly put together, and sidechain is usually one of the requirements of that. Okay, so this is technically another idea, which I'm temporarily going to mute. And I guess we can try something new on top of this as well, with that muted. I'm just gonna... By the way, did I set the key right for both of these? Can I see both of them while the group is... Yeah, F sharp and F sharp. Okay. I was worried for a second that I put them to G sharp because I always write in G sharp. Holding shift makes things editable without the grid. And then I just duplicate over. You cannot hold Control D. That's a bit annoying. Let's try like a classical comb filtering lead. Maybe a bit more of an interesting sound going into that. I like that, nice and aggressive. I guess I can set up the macro here. Bit low. Okay, and now for automations, I can go... Ooh. You have to find the thing in there? Or does it... Wait. Yeah, okay, if you click the thing, then it will... And I hope that that's... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, for this idea, you would need to take everything and duplicate it over here. And then macro goes from 0 up to 100. Arrangement-wise, what you'll probably hear is that this is done with just normal rolling bass as opposed to the melody. I guess we can start with a bit of arrangement. Okay. Duplicate you guys over. Can I close this as well and just treat it as one element? I guess I can, but it still selects individual clips there. And then duplicate this over. And then probably this will be the idea that will be in here. And then I take everything. I said I take everything and move it here, at least. So that we also have one space where we have fewer drums. Where we can put this element. Of course, we need to make the bass without the melody. Which is just like this. And then I go in here. Duplicate this over up until here. And then this over here, stopping there. All right. Unmute, unmute, unautomate. This is what we have now. If you touch it, update. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That is the same in Ableton. Not much special in here yet, as you can hear. EQ wise, I would probably have a little bit less mid-range in here. Oh. Of course, this would need a whole bunch of different processing, delay and stuff like that. This does already have a delay, but it's a delay from Vital. Uh-huh. I feel like for the real nighttime feel, it needs a little bit more of a processed bassline feeling. Like the bassline doesn't really feel tight enough, I guess. It doesn't open up with my favorite EQ this way. That's all the way down here. I guess the envelope could be a little bit lower. So we just get the click here. Sounds cool. It needs a bit more processing. M stereo spread also doesn't show up in here. Nice. Nice. Bit more EQing after this. Okay, and then finally some black box. I think this should do the trick. Which is the one that you want again for the nice? I want to set it to high, I think. I think that should be volume matched, no? It still has a little bit of an annoying mid-range to it. I'm starting to realize how important this part of the envelope is, that the way that it returns to a lower frequency here. What is my filter? I guess 24 dB per octave also helps in this regard, but then it can be a little bit higher like that. I like the sound of that. Nice and aggressive. I like this vibe. I like where this is going. Okay. What should I add next? Probably the most classical element that I can think of is those atmospheres that you do in Vital. With the random amplitudes. Right? Ollie may have made a short on this recently. That is maybe why I remember. But I also did make this sound recently for a student of mine who requested a lesson on this kind of sound. It's essentially just the random amplitudes thing over here and then really washed out. You can also bandpass filter it if you want a little bit more of a focus texture out of it, but the more important part here is that you want some reverb with the mix all the way up. As you can see, it's now moving really fast, which we don't really want. You just want this kind of movement. Maybe sine interpolate is a little bit better. I like sine interpolate a little bit more for most of my continuous modulations. I believe arrangement-wise, we should probably do something like this. And then in here, you want to do, I believe, double the time so that it follows this time over here and that towards the pitch. I think that's it. Why is it continuing to play? That thing is off. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I would like to extend this throughout. Not that far. It's funny, it starts to accelerate when you do that. Doesn't really matter which key you press in here. What matters is that you want one long continuous note for this kind of atmosphere. Does the DAW have a transient shaper? It may have, yeah. Let me check for you. It has transient control. Yes, this looks like a transient shaper to me. Now, of course, we would need to add a lot more movement and that kind of stuff to a track like this. A lot more glitchiness as well. You probably have some extra drum fills in here somewhere. And that is probably what I'm going to do in the latter part of the stream. I'm just going to take a quick break for about 10 minutes, not even. In the meantime, I'm going to, of course, play one of my tracks. Here. No. Here. And then I'll play this one. There we are. Needs a little while to wake up, I guess. Or does it not have a color? Ah, it has a non-color. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to play this track while I'm gone. And then once the track is finished, that is probably the time that I'll also be back. I tend to be really good at timing those things. And then we'll continue implementing the things that I just said. And chatting and exploring Bitwig a bit more. And all of that good stuff. Anyway, I'm taking a quick break. And I see you guys in a bit.
that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. Naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes, every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And then you would get more and more adventures, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality.
The track feels slower than usual, but that is probably because we were working on faster material before. Okay, let's get back into this stuff. I feel like our atmosphere is not always doing the thing that we want to do, and maybe that has to do with the octave that we play it in. I feel like also with these sounds, I should probably render out a bunch of different of these sounds and alternate between them, as opposed to just having this individual sound over here. So I guess we can make a couple more of the same type of sound by just using the same patch but duplicated. So in here I want maybe doing it with a saw wave and a bandpass. That's another traditional way of doing it, I guess. Does that not work? Oh yeah, it needs a higher octave because this MIDI clip is too low. And then oscillator B needs to go through filter A here. Ah, it's the plugin that takes away key press thing. I like that. This is cool. I'm going to disable all of the delays in here. So one over here. We'll make a third version of this by duplicating this patch over and then going in the phase disperse over here. You get like a very different texture out of that. It was at minus 10 dB too. Ah, okay. Minus 10? Ah, you mean for the track? For this stuff. Yeah, but the levels are the same between the two productions. Unless the master here is different, which it isn't. No. Yeah, they should be at the same level. Because I use the same volumes that I usually use for my other productions. Like, it can be slightly off. I guess because this has more stuff in it, it will be louder because of that. But overall, yeah, like the template that I use, I carried that over into Bitwig when I started this project in here. Okay, that is cool, but I would like to have maybe one more that is like a squelch thing. Let's see if we can make that. So no phase disperse. I hate that you cannot stop it when this plugin is in use. There's no way to turn off the keyboard functionality in here, I guess. I thought that's because Bitwig's regular level is minus 10 dB for channel created. Yeah, I've changed that. I've set that to 0 dB. That's one of the things that it did remember. It did not remember all of the things that I had up here. But it doesn't really matter. I guess once I purchase the software, I'm still running it in demo mode. Once I purchase the software, it will actually be like remembering all of my settings and whatnot. And then I can start to build out my actual workflow. But until I actually decide upon using Bitwig, that's not really going to happen. Anyway, what was the method of getting squelches out of this again? I know there is one. Like very short blip squelches. Is it the same with the frequency filter? Is it that? I assume it's the frequency filter just with a bigger shape so that you maintain a bit more of this here. So here we want to go all the way up, and then here we want to be lower, but still have a bit of a tighter shape. I guess it may be like this. Not exactly what I was looking for, but it still sounds very cool. I want to go into some of these other vitals and just turn up the attack a bit more in here, because I noticed some clickiness with this one. That's now gone. This one is okay. And this one is also okay. So now what I would like to do is probably either we want to freeze these, all four, and then cut out the sounds the way that we want them in kind of like a pattern fashion, or I would individually transgate all of them in interesting ways. And I think transgating them in interesting, or gating them in interesting ways, is the best option here. There's probably good ways of doing that inside of. Is there good ways of doing that inside of Bitwig? So that I don't have to rely on an external plugin, that I can actually judge Bitwig itself? Yeah, I do use Reaper for mixing. When it comes to switching DAWs, I want to just see if the Bitwig flow, because there's so much talk about Bitwig being so much better than Ableton, I want to see for myself if my workflow also holds when applied to Bitwig. And to be honest, right now, I don't really feel me being like faster or better at writing music. So I may just stick with Ableton for that. Like, it needs to have some kind of benefit, but the only way that you can find that benefit is by actually using the program. First of all, I have to group these here, and then you can do anything with the grid, but I have no idea how. Maybe that can help you out. Yeah, there's probably a convoluted way of doing it in the grid, but let's stick with Shaperbox then. So what we want to do is we just want to make like a 2-bar pattern. I guess we need it to be magnetized. What is it again? Oh yeah, you have to double click, I believe. Or click on the dots or something that you create. Is there a way for me to make it immediately into maybe... Oh yeah, holding control will do. Okay, perfect. Okay, then I want to... Here, here, and here. I guess if you click like that, it will also work. Okay, so this is the first pattern. We have to keep this in mind when making the next patterns. So all of these patterns need to start low. I again want the thing on here. And then I believe the other one, can I switch between them easily? Yeah. Yeah, okay, so there's 2 spaces there. So I'm going to fill 1 space up here and 1 space up here with this guy. And these are a little bit more interesting, so we'll use them a bit more. Once again, Shaperbox. 2 bars. I don't think I did that with the other one. Yeah, I want 2 bars of length. We essentially just want to exclude patterns when they don't need to be played, right? Okay. And then here we'll have this one play. And here I'll have it play like so. That means that we need to fill up this space, and this space. And I think the most interesting thing that we can do is also play 2 different sounds in this area over here. You can hear there's still some empty space left, and that is where the last one is going to go. Could you not just easily automate the Bitwig ARP, the steps that should play projector? Yeah, I guess that would have been an option as well. I don't know, does this have 32 notes available? It only goes up to 16, I guess. So no, that wouldn't work then. If it's only 16 steps, because I need 32 steps to do the pattern that I'm trying to create now. I mean, I'm sure we would have come up with a cool pattern as well with the other technique. So that would have worked, but then I would only have a 1 bar pattern instead of 2. Okay, let me check. And I believe it is like this and like this, if I remember everything correctly. Let me now see if everything lines up. Yeah, okay, so the last beat is already full. This of course needs to be set to 2 bars. These two fill up this area over here. Screen space is already lacking. This area is filled up there. And this area is filled up there. We should be good. We have 1 space that isn't played. This space over here, I think. Hello Davey, how are you doing? Maybe Bitwig even has an inbuilt sequencer. It might have, yeah. I didn't even check for that when I started this idea. I guess I didn't have the idea when I started it. It doesn't just say sequencer, but I'm sure that there's probably ways of building one inside of the grid or something like that. Maybe if we open up these shapes a little bit more, we get a little bit of a different tonality from these sounds, right? Do I up it or do I... Yeah, I up the shape, I guess. Now this guy doesn't play. Why? Bit of a comb filter in there maybe could make it interesting. Just like very low. Not really getting the texture that I'm looking for. We are getting some cool sounds out of modulating this around very, very low. For some reason it seems to reset every once in a while. I don't want that. But if I set it like this, it will reset with every note that triggers. Maybe this is just a visual thing, because it just seems to snap for like one sample to a certain part. It doesn't actually seem to do that to the modulation here, I think. Or does it? It does, yeah. Why? You can even see it over here. It sometimes just snaps back for a second. I don't know why it is. To be honest, I don't hear a difference in the sound, so we're just going to leave it like this. Okay, cool. Let's work on some kick fills here. Kick fills should be pretty easy for this kind of stuff. Just like add a little fade. This is the fade? Yeah, that looks like the fade. That does sound cool, but I would like a little MIDI kick thing slide, which I would want to try. That's an audio track, normal Control T for an instrument track. That would mean I would need a sampler. Does it come with a sampler instrument? Sampler, there we are. Yeah, and then we just drag this in here. Again, minimize. I try to make a clip, but I guess that's just double click. Oh, this is annoying. And then I just need to play the sample over here. And in the thing here, I need to loop it. So like this. Make that shorter. I would like it to not snap to the end, please. Can you not automate that? Do I have to go like... Wait, you cannot automate this? Oh, that's annoying. You can put all 4 of those vitals in an instrument selector and run them from a single arpeggiator and then use the selector modes. Aha! That's interesting. We'll try that after this. I first want to make kick rolls by automating this thing. Can I not modulate or automate this in any capacity? That's annoying. Does anybody know if you can automate the length of the looping thing here? I just want to do one of those kick things like this. Do you know what I mean? I would like to do something like that, but for that you need to automate this, and it doesn't seem that you can either modulate or automate it. Unless I press maybe here. Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like it likes that. Does it work like in Ableton Live maybe? Yeah, in Ableton Live you just automate the length parameter. Press the automation key. Click the poti you want to automate. But I am in automation mode. The automation should be appearing right here. Like any other thing that I move, it appears up here. So this should also appear there. But it doesn't, so that would suggest that you cannot automate this. How do you, Bitwig guys, do your kick rolls for Psytrance? Like, this is a pretty standard thing in Psytrance, so I would assume that anybody that knows Bitwig would know how to do a Psytrance kick roll. I don't know where the show automation key is though. I am new to this interface. Keep that in mind. I'm new to this this whole DAW, this whole workflow. I do that with the note length before the sampler to do that effect. Perfect. All right. Note length. Note length. Here. Of course, then I need to set this like so. Oh, this is cool. You can always resample and make the sample slice and slide into place. I don't think you know what I'm trying to do here. Because setting something up like that manually is almost impossible. Because you need, for the effect to work well, you need it to be all proportional to each other. So that is why you need like a linear automation, so that every note becomes like exponentially longer. Note repeat module. Yeah, I thought so. Something like that would do the trick, right? Note repeats, and then here. Yeah, that's what I want. Why is that only working if I play from here? Is it because I need to do it like this. Perfect, there we are. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this so that we have a version of that in the track still. That will be disabled, and then I want to bounce in place. It does not seem to... Does it zero cross? No, it doesn't, apparently. Can I zoom out? Thank you. Is it because this thing has some release to it? It does. Aha. It must have some release to it, apparently. I guess we set the gate a little bit lower then. And try it again. Bounce in place. Yeah, there we go. Now it's a lot cleaner. Of course, in the very beginning, it's not going to, but that doesn't really matter. Towards the end is where it really matters. And then here we want to have the fade. By the way, note repeat is also good to do Euclidean rhythms. Oh, that's cool. That's something that we can look into later. Does right click give me a menu? Yes, this. This is what right clicking does for me. I do that manually all the time, lol. It takes me like 3 minutes. Yeah, that's what I mean. It should take a lot slower. Now that or a lot quicker, sorry. Now that I know how to do it, I can say that I want to do one over here. I just make my clip and then drag in the one note in here and just automate this one parameter. Or which one was it again? Rate? Yes, rate. Note repeats rate. It would be very nice if it already showed you in here a little dot if you already automated a particular parameter. I can pin it in here. Cool, I like that as well. I can bounce in place this thing and then leave it here. I don't even maybe need to have to make new tracks every time. Okay, let's add a little bit of a drum fill to this. Here, 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 right? There is an autoplay mode for this, that I know. But I don't know where the toggle for it is. Auto preview when selected. Yeah. Something like that may be fun. There's like a little fast area over here that we could use maybe. I like that. A little bit of delay on there. Here I would like a 32 note thingy. Can you copy over the clip without copying over the automation like you can in Ableton? Oh, I even deleted the automation. That's annoying. Oh, here are my buttons, the ones that I complained about before. Is there a way to do that? The duplication without duplicating over automation? Because it really seems not to want to do that. Doesn't really matter here. Have you tried the operator settings for audio and MIDI clips? They are fun too. To pin automations, use plus. I haven't tried the operator settings yet. I assume that is one of those things that people use to do the thing that I just tried to do, but within MIDI. Personally, I like the automation workflow a little bit more. It's a little bit more intuitive to me than the MIDI workflow. But I believe that is where you can like do stuff over here, right? Where you can have a note and chop it up into multiple different smaller notes. Like this stuff over here. Yeah, you can chop it up and then you can squeeze it to one end or another end. This is another way that you could do those kick rolls by just creating MIDI clips like this. But I don't like it because it makes MIDI notes that... Is it always like that? Why they touch each other? I want a little bit of space in between so I can have the release timing and the clicks don't get in the way of each other. That's why I say it's possible with audio too, with normal audio clips. But then you would need to have an audio clip, right? That's... Wait. I would need to select the sample within, or like the segment within here. Just as a test here. Ah, no way. Oh, that's cool. But even still, it doesn't fix my issues with the zero crossing here. Unless you can fade out in a certain way. I don't know what I just did here. But yeah, this still has issues with zero crossing from the look of things. There seems to be a crossfade in here. Let's see how that works. I don't want it affecting the transient. I just want it affecting this part over here. But this seems to do nothing. Okay. It does seem to have detected the transient, which is interesting. I, for some reason, deleted the kickdom there. This DAW is too complicated for projector. Well, it's not too complicated. What is important is not complication, it is how does it align with your workflow. Right, everything that I've built up over the last 8 years of production inside of Ableton is fighting against me at this point. Because I always have other ways of doing things, and there might be better ways, but there are also negatives to every approach that you have, and I personally see some of the negatives in the approach that was just pointed out to me. That doesn't mean that it's a bad DAW or a complex DAW or anything of the sorts. It just means that workflows don't align with what I want to do. There's fade in, fade out maybe. You say maybe if I do it like this, but I'm assuming that this would be a fade on the clip, right? So if I now go in here and to your operator thing, yeah, it doesn't apply a fade into, or does it? It does. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, so this would work. Hey, that's interesting. Also, by just setting the fade over here, you can determine the fade between all of them, except the last one for some reason. That's very annoying. It is a bit cleaner in the areas that where it doesn't matter, but this is going to be a massive spike. You would need to then tune it based upon where this zero crossing is going to be. It's still not an ideal workflow, and I still prefer the other method that I use here with the node length, the way that Mind B explained it. Because this is always neat. Here, it doesn't really matter what the zero crossing is doing at these higher frequencies. And at the lowest frequencies, as you can see, it's just individual kicks that stop well before they need to. So there's no issues there. Going to take my texture and make it a bit more stereo. Can do some more atonal stuff with Vital. I know at least of one other trick that I know for certain you can do in Serum, but I'm also assuming you can do a similar thing inside of Vital by just sample and holding this stuff here. It's kind of similar. It makes some cool sounds here. I like that. What if we modulate between them with the arpeggiator? Say over 2 bars over here, right? It's very annoying trying to copy paste. I guess it does work like this, which is fast. But that only works if you're working the full clip here. I guess not exactly the vibe that I was going for, but it sounds cool. We get some very annoying clicks, but I don't think we need it anymore because we have the gate length over here and we can just set this to 50%. Oh, of course. Cool, cool, cool. Is it maybe cool to pitch down over time too? Kind of contrast what we were doing before. I guess I like that, but a little bit longer, so that it takes a little bit longer for the pitch automation to happen. Yeah, that's nice and nightimey, I suppose. Have you ever tried working with MPE inside Bitwig's piano roll? I have not, no. There's probably some interesting possibilities in there, but I'm just like slowly taking it one step at a time, trying different production styles and whatnot, and seeing what works inside of Bitwig. Desk Glitch does that a lot, he gets some insane unique effects out of that. Maybe we could try that now. I believe Serum is MPE enabled. So we can see if we can do some cool synthesis with this kind of thing. It always takes them a second for the plugin to load, at least Serum for me. And in Ableton it loads the window instantly, I believe, and then the interface takes a while for it to show up on the window. Unless you're opening something like Omnisphere, which is like really big. But I do need some cool kind of effect or cool atmosphere here. Sorry, here. And then 2 forward and 2 forward so that it's neatly aligned at 13. That is exactly where I want it to. Okay. Micro pitch expression editing. This is not MPE. I guess not. Or is this MPE? Ah, yeah, this is just the pitch of the MPE, I think. It doesn't seem to like that. Do I need to enable it over here? MPE enabled. Yes. then this is not the thing that I thought it would be. I thought this would be the pitch bend part of the MPE stuff. Arrangement vice Bitwig not must intuitive. I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're trying to say there. How do I get it to pitch around the individual notes and such with the MPE? I assume that it's part of the piano roll, right? Like where we're watching now. It's just somewhere hidden behind something that I don't know. No. So automation. It wasn't this. It isn't the mixer. Expressions. Is it this thing? Or is that still the same thing over here? Zipperlet 3 is fully MPE compatible. Yeah, but I don't have that. I have Serum. Or Faceplant or Vital. Which should all three be MPE compatible. I just need to see where I can set the MPE values. I thought it would be this thing. But it's not pitched. It's not doing the thing that it needs to do. See, MPE enabled. So it should work. What if it is some of this stuff here, maybe? Timbre, gain, velocity, chance, pressure, pan. Is it this thing? It doesn't seem to be that thing either. Because I linked MPE to macro 1, 2, and 3. So I would assume that these would start working. Maybe I have to assign them. Let's just make some quick nonsense assignments. Yeah, so that thing isn't moving up. Maybe it's this thing. This is gain in dB though. Which also does nothing. Nice. This is great. It's a DAW that has a whole bunch of features that do nothing. Exactly what you want from your DAW. Did they forgot to implement them, or what happened? Maybe try another synth or another preset in Serum. Yeah, but it should just pitch around, or at least find the macros and move them around, right? No. Do I need a different instrument? Is it just broken inside of Serum? Browse. Pads. There must be some MPE enabled pads in here as well, right? Yeah, here we have MPE timbre. It seems like Serum was broken. I am sorry for everything I said about your DAW. That's already a cool sound, by the way. I like that. That's funny. Why is that so mono? Why is the delay so mono? The width is all the way up. Give me... Is it really just becoming mono, or am I hearing things? Yeah, the feedback seems to become mono. It becomes more mono. Why? Why would you do that? I want that to be a little bit later. I would like to... I hate that everything is inverse. Like zooming in inside of Ableton is dragging down, whereas in Bitwig it's the other way around, I believe. Don't 100% quote me on this, because it just feels unnatural right now. I also don't like that if I have this selected and I hold shift, it sometimes just doesn't capture it. Like, what is this? From here to here I want it gone. And then I just need to duplicate over the baseline. Again, not being able to hold Control D is a little bit annoying here. I guess this is the kind of sound that you want to have right about here. And this over here. We got a really good texture there from the randomization in this patch. This definitely sounds cool, just be careful with plugins that are in the feedback effects chain. Yeah, you can ruin a lot of different ears with that mainly. It tends to get out of control pretty quickly, but there's probably some cool sound design ideas that you could do with that. Like, probably like something... Imagine that you're making waveforms, right? You use something like that to make a wavetable, and you set the cycle of your, or you set the delay length to the exact same length as the length of the cycle of the waveform, and then you add like a resonator or maybe even a flanger or a phaser or whatever it is in between the feedback loop, so that every time, every cycle gets another phaser imprinted on top of it, basically. That would be a cool sound design idea. I don't know what that would bring, but maybe that is something that we could experiment with. I am going to take another quick break though. So that we'll have another hour plus afterwards, in which we'll mess around with some more stuff. Keep in mind, by the way, guys, that everything that you're seeing on the screen now at the end of the stream is deleted and I can never recover. Because I am running the demo mode, I cannot actually save any projects that you're hearing. So everything that you hear right now is going to be gone by the end of the stream. You guys can take it. You guys can take all of the sound design ideas that I put in here and just steal it. If you want to. I mean, that's true for my normal streams as well, but I would expect people to be nice and not do that. Anyway, let me find some music real quick for you guys to listen to. I guess we can do the Mind B collab again, because I haven't played that in a while. It's this one. Oh, I'm dragging that on the wrong thing. I need that here. Yeah. Okay. I'll be right back, guys. Once this track has finished playing, I'll be back and then we'll continue working on this and chatting some more and whatnot. For now, I'm taking a quick break and I hope to see you in a bit.
So, let us dream big. Let us dream big. Let us dream big. Let us dream big.
The reality is, digital has allowed us to do whatever the heck we want. If you want to mimic any time period, you can do it. The tools are there.
Become one with the machine.
Fire track. Thank you, thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It shouldn't play again, of course. Wait, it did put the track on the return track. Okay, now that is interesting. You can put tracks on return tracks. That's very neat. Anyway, let's start thinking maybe a bit more about the arrangement. You can just control A everything, right? Yeah. Okay. It's probably wise to... Yeah, you have to do it like that if you want to copy in time. That's something that I'll have to get used to. It's probably a wise idea that we start making a few more sounds that we can put in this area over here. I'm treating this as if it were an actual production, but as I said, I don't really care about this. Like, this is gone at the end of the stream. Omnisphere still takes a while to load. I didn't expect anything else. I want to maybe first make like a low atmosphere that we can put in here, in the intro at least. Why does it do it like that? It doesn't show you the whole clip length if you make it longer. That's annoying. There's so many small little details in regards to how you produce that you don't really think of until you switch DAWs. Why does it now play less than it did before? There we go. I'm just going to try that with a couple of these and then bounce them into place to see what we will get. Oh, it's still listening to the other thing here. Sound match here. I like that. That's cool. Bounce in place. The reason why you would bounce something like this is that you can then arrange on waveform like this. Oh. Of course, we're going to take these things and we might as well do it now already. Have a big delay and reverb on them. Echo Boy Jr. with the ambient version here. That's always nice. There's some cool stuff. Let's listen to the next one. Sound match again, and then we'll go maybe Animal Cry. That is cool to maybe layer on top of this thing here. Oh, I should have duplicated it first, of course. I'm still so used to freeze track being there that I automatically move there. We can go sound match. Let's see if there's some other cool stuff in here. There's some cool texture coming from this. I like that. You can select an area from bottom to top with the 2 selector and press Ctrl Shift P for insert silence. Ctrl Shift P. Ah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, okay. For some reason I duplicated over that thing apparently. That's not what I wanted. The bounce in place is really fast. I like that. I like that. Sounds cool. We'll add one more towards the end there, so that we have like a rising up thing happening. Hopefully. Cool. I'm just gonna go with a 1 bar thing for that. Bounce that in place. And then we'll have that here, so that that fades nicely into that part over there. Hello Lucas, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Of course we would need some more electronic stuff and stuff like that in here. Let's make... not audio track, let's make another instrument track for that. I'm so used to double right click for opening up instruments. Vital again. Probably like phase disperse thingy. That's cool, playing it an octave too low. There's some cool sounds. It would again probably be a cool idea to have the arpeggiator in here. Suddenly we're an octave higher for some reason. This needs to be sync. Right? Yeah, and then we can place it right here. Is there a way that you can... Oh, that's not what I want. I want higher, yeah. I just want the note to be longer. Okay, dotted 16 or 8 notes here. Can you... Thank you. I feel like if we want to go really dark, we could do a darker kick drum as well. Let me just quickly make a MIDI for that here, so that we can test it. Why is this still generating a click now? Is that the start? Aha. That feels like a more appropriate kick drum than this clicky thing. Can you do a double backflip? No, I cannot. I cannot even do a single one. It does not seem to work anymore. Oh, for some reason it only based it on the kick drum track itself, I guess. Okay. Either way, we'll have to replace this kick drum over here. Oh, we'll also have to remake the kick rolls. This is why you keep stuff around, kids. Because now you can remake the kick rolls with the new kick drum that you just created. I hate that you cannot hold Ctrl D. That is probably the biggest annoyance that I have with Bitwig at this point. Holding Ctrl D and just seeing the thing move where you need it to and then just releasing it when you're finished duplicating is much nicer than having to press Ctrl D so many times. I almost intuitively hit Ctrl D every time. Also, why is it selecting so strangely? If I want to select a range of kick drums. Sounds like a much more appropriate kick drum, don't you think? I know technically I could just keep it in MIDI here. I can just drag in a new sample. This is way too loud, right? Yeah. I'm used to drag clip to loop, much more convenient. I know, but I want to be able to edit the individual kick drums. I want them as individual clips. At least for my workflow. That is what I currently like. It feels almost a bit quiet, this thing. It does hit 8 dB, so it should be okay in terms of volume. Or am I... Is it me or does the kick sound way too quiet all of a sudden? I do want my bass there. I want to make... No. Control Shift T to make an audio track, and then as input this needs the kick group, which I'm going to make here with my kick rolls in it, and the renders of them as well, which currently don't do anything. Then I group my bass, make another audio track over here. This goes to that group master post, and this goes to this group master post. Okay. Now I want to send these two sidechain inputs on a separate audio track then. I'm just trying to set up my size scope over here. Meaning that over here I can go size scope, right? And then this needs to go to this. Audio to, but I want to determine its input. Plugins. Huh? It only seems to go to inst. No. Hey, why does this not show then? This is audio 2. Let's just call this size scope. Okay, I want it to go into, or do I have to go here, size scope? No, it's not even getting them. It's not even getting the input here. Neither the kick nor the bass is actually listening to. Or do I need to set this for that to work? Yes, okay. So that part is working. I just needed to go into SciScope. Yeah, you cut out a part of the clip. That is what I do. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it's the workflow that I'm not yet familiar with, but that would come over time. I like some of the features that it has creative-wise. I just haven't found a feature yet inside of Bitwig that would really accelerate my workflow. And that is the main thing that I'm looking for, because at the end of the day, making the music that you want to make, I'm able to do that basically in any DAW. I have my list of plugins that once I have that installed, I can do whatever I want, right? And I can get the music that I want to make. The issue is that with Bitwig right now, it feels like I'm slower than I am with Ableton. And to switch a workflow to get a few extra creative tools that only make you slower instead of faster is not really something that I'm really excited about. SciScope here. Does this now work? Okay, we have the baseline, but this is now... Okay, so this then would need to go to a sidechain input of this here. No. It's just not showing the track that I need. You can't multi-input into plugins, only one main and the sidechain input. Why? And even then, how do I set up the sidechain now? If I want the sidechain input. Or do I have to do sidechain from somewhere in here? So show plugin sidechain. Oh, it's like this. Oh, that's annoying. I hate that. I would just want to be able to route audio however I want. So this needs to be then the base. That means that SciScope cannot be fully used in here. At least not the free version that I'm currently working with. And then this needs to go nowhere. And this needs to go SciScope, right? Yes. So that part works. I guess the bass could close a little bit faster. Still, like this. Envelope is so important here. Frustrating after coming from Reaper and its infinite routing options. Yeah, I agree with that. Reaper is even... Sorry. Yep, free version is less useful, frustrating after coming from Reaper and its infinite routing options. Yeah, I agree with that. Reaper is very liberal in the way that you're routing. Ableton then is like a step below that, in that you can route anything into anything or anything into the sidechain. And Bitwig doesn't even allow you to, with the output over here, directly route into any sidechain that you want. Because apparently it just shows up a bunch of them and not all of them. I personally group the kick and bass and put SciScope on the group, but maybe that's not what you want to do. Yeah, no, for me, SciScope on the group doesn't work. I want to be able to see that separation between the kick and bass. I want them to be visible in different colors, first of all. Right, when I set layers over here, that way I can check the waveform of both of them simultaneously. Also, I just want to be able to click through different elements and see just the individual element over here to check for stuff like cleanliness and whatnot. And the other thing is I see kick and bass as two different elements. So even in my production project, I want them organized in two different groups. I don't like having the kick and bass in an individual group. Which is quite interesting for a lot of psytrance producers. I guess for a lot of people it is natural to work that way, but I've worked with kick drum being a part of the drums collection and basses being part of the bass group for so long because I used to make dubstep. And there the separation between kick and bass is very obvious because you have different basses playing all the time and the kick has like a very different functionality than it does in psytrance where it's very glued to the bass line. Still, I get the gluing of the kick and bass down nicely, I would personally think. But overall, I'm not interested in having the kick and bass on its own unique group like that. This is more the dark side kick and bass that I'm used to. Of course, element-wise, we're not really there yet. This is there. But stuff like this isn't really what I was trying to go for. I also said at the beginning of the stream that I would make nighttime, but we ended up not really doing that. At least not the nighttime that I was imagining, I guess. But we did make something cool. I'm happy with where we got so far. Let's add another Vital. I think Vital is better for the more darker side genres. From everything that I've seen in terms of the sound design that we did today, it kind of led me towards more dark side kind of vibe, I guess. Maybe that is because it's a little bit more luscious. It doesn't feel as precise. It doesn't feel as tight. Here, let's set up some FM stuff. Ooh, we get some cool telephone stuff here. Ah, this is how you do that. I'd hope for a few more harmonics of that. There we are. Yeah, this is a classical dark side sound. I didn't even try to make this. At least I didn't have this in mind. That's cool. I guess this would be a nice sound to use over here. Hey, why doesn't it on the... Ah, it's... Where is Vital? Where did that Vital go that we just made? There's a Vital on an audio track. Ah, I may have made an audio track because the keyboard shortcuts between make audio track and make instrument track are exactly flipped inside of Bitwig. So where did I say? Here, right? And then 2 bars long, yeah. Yeah, it's the classical telephone sound. I don't know how familiar people are with this type of sound, but I've heard it a few times at least. Make it more interesting by detuning this stuff. Louder still. There we are. Delay plus. Now buy a license and save this project. It will be a long time before I actually buy Bitwig. Because I would only buy it if I actually wanted to make the switch. And currently, I am not feeling it. Like, it's an interesting toy, and I might, from time to time, just stream me using Bitwig with low stakes, so that I can experiment with some cool sound design stuff and, like, cool ways of arranging and whatnot. For the foreseeable future, I will do that. And I guess there's like interesting content to create there, but it's not something that I would look to switch to for my daily workflow in terms of production and whatnot. It doesn't feel like that. I also think that it could be cool every once in a while to just do a stream where you know that at the end of the stream the production is going to be gone. So you really, if you wanted to hear the music, you really should have been there to catch it live. Or I guess you can see the VOD still, which will be uploaded. But it could be an interesting idea to have like sessions like that where you're just sitting down making music. That is at the end of the day the whole point of the stream. Is for me is that if I wanted to actually make music, I wouldn't stream myself, because making music and streaming, the streaming becomes distracting of the thing that you actually want to do, which is, you know, be creative and be in that flow. Whereas if you're streaming for the streaming, you're trying to talk with people, you're trying to interact, to be entertaining and that kind of stuff, and that is a different thing. That's like a different skill set. So those two things don't really match with each other. That being said, knowing that at the end of the day my production will be gone, whatever happens, might be a benefit in that. I can focus a bit more on the entertaining part, and I don't have to be so serious about my like production part. So in that regard, it could be just a cool idea to have, I don't know, once a month I stream in Bitwig, and then I just make a track and relax, and at the end of the stream the track will be gone. Consider it some very modern art. No, I don't know. I would have to see. As I said, I haven't found a benefit yet of switching to Bitwig. I haven't found yet like, hey, oh wow, this is the workflow upgrade that I need. This is the workflow upgrade that I've been missing for all this time. It's just not really clicking for me yet. I'm not really a fan of the clunky interface, and I can imagine that if I were to do an actual production of mine, like we now have, this is the 17th track in here. This is the, where do I see the track numbers of the individual tracks here? I saw this is group 17, so I assume that that would be track 17. Audio 6. Does that mean that there's 17 groups in this production? No, right? Can I just get a count of the amount of tracks that are in this project? You cannot even select multiple tracks that are in different hierarchies. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So this is 29 tracks. That is just my template, 29 tracks. So if I open up my default template inside of Bitwig, this is the amount of scrolling that I would have to do just to get started producing. I don't think track count is a fair comparison. You're not used to this app. But once I start producing in it daily and it becomes my daily DAW, then I would become accustomed to this DAW and I would still want to write the music that I want to write now. So I would have the same level of complexity in the amount of tracks that I have. Because switching to Bitwig would be even worse if I also change my whole production style and my whole identity as an artist because of it. Then it would be even less worth the time to do. And it will take you a long time to get used to it only if you use it once a month and only on stream. Yes, that is true. But again, I have no reason to actually switch. I am just doing it because of the opportunity of losing out. I know there's also this format over here, but I believe there were other issues with that in that you cannot open and close tracks like this. In here, in Ableton, you can, or in Bitwig in this view, you can make tracks bigger, which is something that I sometimes do in my workflow, and having to switch back and forth between that is again something that I'm like on the fence about. You know what I mean? The whole point is, I don't have to switch DAWs. I'm fearing that I'm missing out something brilliant that I haven't seen in Bitwig yet, and that is the reason why everybody seems to have such a good time in it, and I don't seem to like get the DAW. But at the end of the day, if I don't get the DAW and I continue producing in Ableton, there's nothing really wrong with that. Have you tried more generative stuff in Bitwig yet? Most people say that's where it shines. It could be the case. We have tried a few things. We tried a few like atmospheres and whatnot. But for all of that stuff, for basically everything grid related and modulation related and all of the stuff that you do in here, all of that stuff, it's not faster. It's more fun, but not faster. And at the end of the day, for me, speed is very, very important because when I'm like producing, I kind of know what I want. So I don't want to like spend a lot of time trying to find new ideas. I generally speaking have already the idea in mind of what I want to create before I start creating it. So my workflow doesn't really require a lot of generative idea generation. Key map the track height. I know, yeah, you could make a shortcut for this, but that would still be one more step than it is in Ableton, where you can just from any size open up a track and drag it bigger. I guess my ultimate question at the end of the day when it comes to switching to Bitwig is the time investment that it would take for me to learn this DAW, is that potentially offset in the future by me writing the music that I want to write faster? And I've done 4 streams now, if you count the one that I did over a year ago. So I've done 3 streams recently, in the last 2-3 months, something like that. And in those 3 streams, I didn't really find anything that would significantly speed up my workflow. I did, however, find a lot of things that would frustrate me for a couple of months, and then I would get used to it. And I found a couple of things that would allow me to sink a lot of time into very many things that don't really matter. Something like the grid. To be honest, I don't think there's any scenario in which the grid speeds up your workflow. It maybe makes it more fun, which is another discussion. But generally speaking, I already have fun writing music. Like, I don't need extra toys, I don't need extra tools. I'm perfectly capable of being creative during a day and writing the music that I want to write. It's the only complaint that I sometimes have is the speed at which I do it. And if there is a benefit inside of Bitwig that allows me to write the music faster than I'm currently writing, then I will switch. And if there isn't, then there isn't, and I won't switch. And that is what I'm trying to find out. And until I have a good answer to that question, maybe it takes 10 streams, maybe it takes 20 streams. I don't know how many streams it will take. But until I have an answer to that question, I'll just continue experimenting every once in a while. The thing with Ableton is it's a little abandoned. Yeah, that's true. The upgrade security is one of the things that kind of spurred me on to look for an alternative if I ever needed it. The lack of support from both the community as well as their developers to a certain extent, in that they are adding, or they're choosing not to add a bunch of features that, for one, people have been asking about for a really long time, and at this point it just seems like the standard for all the DAWs. A decent non-live plugin delay compensation. Again, for live work, Ableton Live's delay compensation is good, but for anything else, anything that doesn't have to be real time, it is kind of terrible. And I would like to be able to play with plugins in a way that the delay compensation just takes care of everything. The other thing is plugin sandboxing, and then bounce in place. And there's probably a couple of more things. Like somebody said multi-clip editing, which I don't know exactly what that involves. I believe Ableton has that for MIDI. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can select and edit multiple clips in MIDI if they're placed on top of each other and whatnot. Bitwig also has a lot of missing features that people have asked for a long time. Every DAW has this. This is not a problem that is specific to Ableton. Although Ableton is often seen as, because it's Bitwig is basically the Ableton team, or part of an old Ableton team as far as I know, remaking a DAW from scratch. It's often seen as like it's Bitwig versus Ableton. But this is not like an exclusive problem to Bitwig or Ableton. Like, I believe Mind B switched over from Studio One to Bitwig. He has probably had his reasons, and it probably took him some time to at least get used to the new DAW, and get as quick as he wanted to be. Maybe he's missing some features that he still wanted. Maybe he has gained some features where he says, like, I don't like that this DAW is doing it in a certain way. There's a lot of different things that happen between different DAWs and whatnot. And I guess at the end of the day, that makes this kind of stuff interesting, where I just try out a new DAW. It also makes it good content, I hope. I own Bitwig for quite a while and I just can't get used to the workflow. You're one of the few people. From what I can tell, the most people that like or that try Bitwig like Bitwig, and they tend to stick with it. At least from my community, that is what I can tell. Personally, I don't see it yet. I haven't seen the light, I guess. But we'll see if that happens in the future somewhere. But I'm currently, right now, if you put a gun to my head and you ask me right now, would I switch? Then the answer would be no. There's nothing yet that has convinced me to switch. There are some things in the workflow that I really like. There are some things in the workflow that I really dislike. So just in general, like workflow things, I guess it's a little bit, a few items are a plus and a few items are negative, so it kind of balances out there. And there's nothing big really that is convincing me like, oh, you should switch to this other DAW. Because if I switch now, I'll have the same amount of frustrations with my workflow, essentially, I guess. Not that I have a lot of frustrations either now and in Ableton. Like sometimes you notice the somewhat janky plugin delay compensation or the lack of plugin sandboxing and that kind of stuff. But it has been months, I think, since I had last had an actual project lost to a crash? I think multiple months. It may have been over a year since I last lost a project to a crash. Sometimes I've lost some progress, like half an hour or something like that. But you just learn to save every once in a while if you're working in Ableton, because you know that Ableton might sometimes crash. That's just what it does. So every once in a while you just Control S, wait for a couple of seconds, and then you continue producing. It's even worse with Premiere Pro. I have my Premiere Pro shortcuts laid out exactly around the S button, and I always engage Control when I engage any of the shortcuts. So whenever I make an edit, I either hit Control E, Control W, or Control Shift Q, or Control Q. Those are the main actions that I have to do when editing. I almost always follow that up immediately, like instantly, with a Control S, because Premiere Pro is a lot worse when it comes to stability than Ableton. Like, Ableton is bad, don't get me wrong, but it's still on the good side of the bad part, you know what I mean? Like, it can get much, much worse. And Premiere Pro has the same discussion as you could have here with Bitwig. Like, why don't I just switch to Adobe or DaVinci Resolve, right? Which is a free editing software that is very powerful. That's the same reason. If I choose to switch, there's going to be a massive hit to my workflow that I would need to see if that is actually worth it. C1 is a really good DAW, but it's the kind of OG geek side of Bitwig, the grid and the modules which interest me, and more electronic music side of Bitwig. Yeah, that's understandable. If there's features in Bitwig that you really want to play with and that you really like, then that is something that you can go for. To be honest, the grid doesn't have an inherent like pull on me. It's not like, oh, I want to start experimenting with all of these different modules and that. If I really wanted to go modular, I just update my version of VCV Rack and I load that inside of Ableton, and then I have my modular system inside of Ableton. That being said, also Ableton has massive amounts of modulation capabilities, especially with all of the Max for Life devices that I currently have. Like the fact, I don't even think you can do it in Bitwig. Maybe I'm wrong here, but let's say that I have a macro here, right? Can I assign this macro to a parameter that is not on this track? Yeah, no. In Ableton you can do that. In Ableton you can literally map from anywhere to anywhere. So I can say, okay, I want a modulation on this particular track, and I also want this track to follow that modulation. There's probably a workaround in Bitwig as well. But in Ableton, anywhere where you can assign things, it doesn't matter if it's on the same track or in a different track. It will just work. And of course, with all of the Max for Life devices and capabilities that are out there, there's many, many people that have taken that idea and applied that in interesting ways, and that allows you to create all kinds of modulations that you want, and that you can then send to throughout your whole project, essentially. Hate subscriptions, hate all things Adobe. It's stupid, and they're forcing people to use subscriptions. It is true, Adobe is a terrible company. They got in some hot water recently for trying to sell every... not sell, they were trying to get the rights to every form of art created inside of Photoshop. It literally said any artwork created in Photoshop is licensed in a way that they have a redistributable license worldwide for all time to post, modify, make derivative works of, recreate, all kinds of rights that they would have to any artwork created in Photoshop, which is a lot. There's a lot of different artworks that are being used inside of, or being made inside of Adobe products, right? So that was a term that was put inside of Photoshop, and that may also carry over into Premiere or any other program, which is a really, really big catch on if you want to like actually make art, right? If you're making art and Adobe can just come in and go, zoop, this is mine now, thank you. That's a really big demotivator. I haven't seen if it's already in the Premiere terms of service, or in the After Effects, or in, yeah, Media Encoder. I don't think they would put it in there, but maybe even there. But it would be very trashy if they did it in that way. Project level modulation mapping in Bitwig. Yeah, so what I said before in regards to the Ableton mapping, Ableton doesn't care if the parameter that you're modulating is on the same track or on a different track. It treats everything like any parameter you can just map to. Inside of this, I believe you can only map to stuff that is like in the same container, I guess. It's per container, as opposed to just take any parameter and map whatever to whatever, however you want. Reaper and Cubase is the best for Pro Studios in my opinion. I'm assuming opinion. Pro Tools is also trash. I mean, Pro Tools is the OG. They came there first, and then since then they started using their major market share by telling everybody, like, you need to learn Pro Tools if you want to be efficient in the studio, because every studio uses Pro Tools, and therefore every studio kept continuing using Pro Tools because everybody that wanted to get into studio work needed to learn Pro Tools to study in the studio where they wanted to work, or that kind of thing. It's once you're a market leader, it becomes really easy to stay on top, right? And that makes you complacent as a developer, and that you start to fall behind the competition. And now you can see that with Reaper just actually like taking over as a mixing DAW. From what I've heard, one of the ways Bitwig has an advantage over every other DAW is the routing flexibility / flexibility in general. From what I can tell, the routing flexibility is less than Ableton, and the modulation flexibility is also less than Ableton. And the other DAW that I work with, Reaper, doesn't have any routing capabilities in it, so I won't compare it there. And the routing capabilities inside of Reaper are exponentially better and more flexible than what is offered in Bitwig. It's definitely not true that every pro studio uses Pro Tools. Yeah, no, of course not. But it used to be the case that was like 90%, and now I would say maybe it's like 70% or something like that. It's still probably a majority of pro studios use Pro Tools. Not only, by the way, because it's the market leader, but also because it is a decent software in what it needs to do. Like, it can handle hundreds of inputs and hundreds of outputs. From what I know, it handles inputs and outputs and all of that stuff, the stuff that actually matters in a pro studio. It handles that very, very well. Like in a mixing studio, you can imagine that MIDI functionality, for example, isn't as desired as, for example, low latency or integration with different audio cards, or the routing capabilities that you have, both internally as well as going out of the system and going back into the system. Those things are a lot more important. And I think that Pro Tools does have those core features down very well. It's just like Premiere Pro. It's probably very good software being maintained by people that absolutely don't care about the software and just care about making money. That's the same thing with Adobe. I think it's the same thing with Avid. Those two companies, they're in the creative space, they're pretty much known for that, in that they're trying to get as much money as possible out of their users. Yeah, to be honest, I don't have anything else about that to say. I guess the last thing I could do is maybe praise this channel here, but most people will probably know. Tentacruel. For the people that don't know, follow this channel over here. Makes very interesting content, including about Sibelius, which is the notation software created by Avid. And there he goes about some pretty interesting things that happened. I believe he goes over it both in the Doraco video, which is where? Yeah, here. The Steinbeck Doraco video goes over it, as well as the Sibelius video. Both of these videos are great. All of his videos are great. But those two in particular. They go over a few events that happened at the Avid company. And I don't have all of the details straight, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But that is one of those events that shows that they're really just in it for the money, and they're not in it to, I guess, for the love of providing software to creative people. Which at the end of the day, can you blame him? We live in capitalism. That's what you have to do at the end of the day. Nobody is going to invest in your company because they feel the greater good that you're trying to supply. They invest in your company because it makes money. Okay, little rant at the end there. I think I'm going to end it for today. I hope that you enjoyed the stream for today. I hope you enjoyed the little chatting at the end and overall the production. This is the last time. I'm going to play it one more time, I guess, because this is the last time that it's going to play. Of course, this won't be saved because I'm not saving anything. This is still running in demo. But yeah, this is what we made today. It starts off dark side and then it becomes nighttime here. Did you keep it in F sharp harmonic major? Yes, we did. I just didn't make any more melodies after. Thank you guys for the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys. Bye bye. Also, next week, no feedback stream as I will be at Burning Mountain, of course. So the next feedback stream